Okay, class, today we're going to be graphing hyperbolas. So looking at your paper, you notice that the difference between the hyperbola and the ellipse is now I have them pointing outwards. So you notice on the first one, how does that one open? That's correct. It opens sideways, left to right. Now the center is still at my H and K, so that's not going to change. Now my vertices are as follows. Make sure you copy that down. But now I also have co-vertices. And I also have two asymptotes. Now keep in mind that the asymptote formula, that is a plus minus in front of the b divided by a, which is why you have two of them. So the working form equations for hyperbolas resemble those of an ellipse. However, they are different in one important way. That important way is that one term is going to be negative or that the terms have opposite signs. So now when graphing this, it helps to use the a and b values to make a box around it. This helps you place the vertices and asymptotes in the right place. So when you graph it, you should make it look like this. So by putting in that box behind it, I know that I'm going to put my a and my b values where they go, as well as my asymptotes. So the other hyperbola we have is one that opens up and down. So notice that the big difference here is my sign in the middle. So on the ones that open up and down, my center is still at HK. My vertices change a bit, and so does my co-vertices. And my asymptotes are the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the bottom of the page and we're going to tell, based on these, what the features are of the hyperbolas. So remember, if you're not done writing all this down, just pause your video here. Okay, looking at this first hyperbola, I noticed that my center is where? That's correct, it's at the origin. And what do I notice about my A as well as my B point? Can you see that on the graph? My A is at 2. And my B is at 3. Okay, it'll help if you look at this little box that they created here to determine what your A and B is. So we're looking at the value here and the value here. So what are my vertices? My vertices are at -2 and 0, which is right here, and +2 and 0. What about my co-vertices? My co-vertices is referring to this point here. So my co-vertices would be 0, 3 and 0, -3. Now using your formula, you will find that your asymptotes are 3/2 x and -3/2 x. So to find the equation, remember how the equation is. I'm going to have x minus h squared over a squared, and I'm going to have y minus k squared over b squared. So my equation would be x squared minus 4, x squared divided by 4 minus y squared divided by 9 equals 1. So take a moment and pause and see if you could do B. And remember, if you're not done, go ahead and pause the video here and you can see what you need to get. Okay, so the center for this one is where? That's correct, 3, -2. Making my A a 1 and my B a 3. Remember, we're looking at the box around it. So my vertices are at 3, -5 and 3, 1. Remember, we're talking about the points here and here. So where are we going to talk about our co-vertices being? Here and here. So my co-vertices are 4, -2 and 2, -2. So using a formula to find my asymptotes, I'm going to get this. Now remember, your asymptotes is an equation, so don't think you're just going to get a number like 5 or a number like 6. Remember that your parent function for your diagonal for linear is y equals x. So you're going to have something with a y equals, it's going to be a line that has an x in it. So that's why the asymptote should make sense to you. And then I'm going to plug in my h, k, and my b's to come up with my equation. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, here we want to graph the hyperbola given the working form of the equation. So first, I want to know what my center is. Looking at this, I know that my center is going to be my h and my k, right? So I'm going to focus on my h and my k. So my center is going to be at, that's correct, 3 and negative 1. So I want you to go ahead and plot that on your graph. I'll plot my 3, negative 1. Now looking at the equation, what is my a? Remember, a was squared there, so my a is really what? That's correct, it's 4. Now we're going to plot two vertices by moving a units to the left and to the right of the center. So if I move 4 to the right and 4 to the left, I'm going to have those 2 points. So how do I calculate my b? I know that I'm going to have to focus now on my 9, and my square root of 9 is going to give me 3. So now I'm going to plot my two co-vertices by moving b units above and below. So I know that I'm going to have a point there and a point there. So now I can draw my box. Now understand that when I draw my box, that my asymptotes are going to go through, it's going to be a diagonal through the center both ways. Now remember, the slope of that line is always going to be plus or minus b divided by a. So that's how I get my two sidelines. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the points that you should have drawn. I should have had a 7, negative 1, and a negative 1, negative 1. And I should have had a 3, 2, and a 3, negative 4. Now, one thing to make sure of when you're drawing this is to make sure that it opens in the right direction. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, we're looking at number 4 now, but don't forget, I still want you to work all the problems in this packet. Now, looking at number 4, I want you to be able to look at this and tell what your equation is going to be. So the first thing I need to identify is my center, which would be my h and k, correct? So what would my center be at? This point here would be a negative 1, negative 2. So I have my center. So I know what the top part of my formula is going to be. So now I need to know what my a is and my b is. So if I ask myself how far do I have to go to get to the next point, I would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So that means my a is 5. And 5 squared would give me a 25. Now what about my b? How far up would I have to go? I would have to go 3 units, and 3 squared would give me a 9. So I now know that my equation would look like this. Now I want you to take a minute and work the next one. Now a key thing to note is, why is this negative? Why do I have the whole equation right here a negative? Let's go back and look at our first sheet. Don't forget here that it says when it opens up and down, it's going to be negative. Now I want you to do the other 3 equations on this page. Now let's turn to the back sheet. Okay, looking at this last page, it says a hyperbola opens to the left and right. Its asymptotes are given by the following equation. So it's telling you to find the coordinates for the hyperbola center. So think about how I would do that. Think about what you know about if I have two lines or two equations, how do I figure out where they cross? What did you use in Algebra 2 to figure that out? That's correct, systems of equations. So I know I can use systems of equations or the matrix to find out where they intersect. So this is a little bit more tedious, guys, so I'm going to do this with you in class. So make sure you've done everything prior to this point, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.